Roast the MC, I like that.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank Michelle for coming. I have to say my whole roast is going to be off now because I assumed Becky Brizzolera would be subbing for you here. So I wrote all my jokes for her. Fortunately, Michelle has already started a campaign with the Obama's endorsement called Feed the Brizzoleras to supplement the 160 sub days Becky was used to filling in for her every year. We actually thought about just selling some of your 452 lanyards, or pins on your lanyard, which you didn't wear today, thank you. But realized a change in weight that dramatic would cause you whiplash. We were going to have, Steve, you can leave now. Just for a second, you got a phone call, I think. We were going to have Steve do the roast, but Tristan hasn't played a hockey game in a couple weeks, so he wouldn't have anything to talk about. I kid Steve, of course, and most of you know how fond I am of him. However, after the last pep talk Steve gave us, we would welcome the play-by-play of Tristan's game. But really, I'm happy for Steve. In fact, I can't wait to see what he's going to do with the extra 30 minutes every morning, now that he doesn't have Michelle wanting to update him on something. The two have a lot in common, though. For example, the scariest thing you could hear either of them saying is, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" That is usually a code for get comfortable. Really, though, who better to give this roast than me? I mean, can you imagine a more opposite teacher to Michelle than myself? Let's just say Michelle is to teaching as I am to administrative leave. For every book Michelle wrote, the superintendent made a new rule to address some line I supposedly crossed. But seriously, as the shoo-in for Teacher of the Year in 2013, I would love to congratulate you in winning in whatever year you did. I don't remember exactly what year it was, as it's been nearly 37 seconds since you last announced it to all of us. Instead of Where's Waldo, we all like to play a game called Where's Someone Who Michelle hasn't told she was Teacher of the Year. It's a roast! It gets real tearjerkery at the end. Seriously, Michelle brings that award up more than Steve can be heard saying, "Oh, that's not exactly what I meant to say." Honestly, Michelle, we can kid because you are far more humble than I would ever be. I went 3.5 weeks without sending out an inappropriate email, and I bragged about it more than my grandmother when she realized I was no longer trying to pursue a romantic interest with my cousin. Which is a true story, but she's adopted, so it's legitimate. Now, Michelle would often bring up the Toy Network. This caused a lot of confusion for people. You see, she meant Teacher of the Year Network. Unfortunately, most of the women on this staff have a completely different especially after having gone to one of Janet Runger's parties. Now, there are many things people don't know about Michelle, and that's not due to her lack of talking. For example, last year, FAC couldn't figure out how to pay for the infinite amount of work Michelle was doing for her kids. Therefore, we decided instead to supply her with an unlimited amount of crystal meth to assist her in accomplishing all that she does. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised no one saw the signs of her heavy usage. Who else would wear Crocs with no socks in a snowstorm? Eyesight is also something that is affected by heavy usage of drugs, and if anyone has seen her accessories, well, let's just say Helen Keller could have picked her out of a crowd with that wonderful bright orange hat she wears all the time. Really, her friends should have noticed something. Who else other than a meth head knits baby blankets at midnight and does scrapbooking while riding bareback on a motorcycle? There's pictures on YouTube of that actually. However, being the skeptic that I am, I'm wondering how much of the Michelle phenomenon is real. For example, most of you probably don't know this, but Michelle used to have a code for her smoke breaks. She would say, I have to take care of my neighbor's dog. Ironically, when she quit that habit, her colleagues would ask, hey, don't you have to go take care of your neighbor's dog? To which she would respond sharply, no, that bitch is dead. So Michelle might not be the angel Mr. Obama thinks she is. And all those pictures with the presidents, come on, Michelle, we all know you invented the internet before Al Gore did. I'm sure it would take less time to set up a Google Doc than it would be for you to doctor a picture, making it look like you were hanging out with the big shot. I also find it ironic that on the day after your husband came back in town, you tell everyone you had to take the day off to do a presentation on how to tell your Mimeo to Google your smartboard and touch your iPad so you could go make Wiki. That sounds like code talk for something naughty to me. Be honest, Michelle, were all those calls really from the White House, or is that some sick innuendo about your husband? Now, Michelle is just as impressive outside of school as she is in it. She can bake, cook anything, host anyone, and make anything. Michelle is what we would get if Martha Stewart and Gandhi had a baby. Now, you might be wondering why I selected Gandhi, and really there's no reason other than I wanted you all to try to sleep tonight with the image of those two. Michelle, I do have a message from you from Flat Stanley. After being drugged to every town, city, village in the U.S. and Europe, Flat Stanley finally pleads with you. Damn, woman, I get it, you like to travel. Can I please just go home? Why won't you let me just go home? That brings me to the rumors of how Michelle really hurt her foot a few years ago. Many think it was Flat Stanley trying to escape. Some think it was Steve trying to keep her from taking up all his time. And some think it was the Mountain Dew vendor who couldn't keep up with her demand. We were in awe, though, as you never stopped walking around the entire time. However, you never stopped talking the entire time either, and we weren't as in all of that. Now, Michelle is the kind of person who literally grew her hair long just so she could donate it. However, it may be shocking to know that there are people who aren't as big of fans of Michelle, though. For example, many believe that we would not have had this financial collapse over the past few years if the president wasn't so busy hosting her every other weekend. It is a fact that she single-handedly caused the unemployment level to rise 6% because she does the job it takes thousands of others to do. I love the story of when Michelle heard Miss Obama say she didn't have time for teachers. Michelle was very upset by this, but I never understood why. Michelle, I don't mean to bust your bubble, but none of us have time for you. In fact, you could add up all the spare time for everybody in this room, and we still wouldn't have time to keep up with you. We could tap into other dimensions and parallel universes, and we would still be struggling to keep up with you. Okay, sorry for the nerdy talk on the last rope, but this is Holstrom, so it made sense. Heck, not even Bobby has time for you, and he hasn't put in an 8-hour workday since Kim Spence went a day without being dramatic. Or Tabitha went a day without picking a fight with me. Or I went a day without doing something that should probably get me a forced vacation. Or Lisa went a day without cursing under her breath about some new technology they wanted to try. Okay, you get the point. But in true honor of Michelle and the teacher you are and always will be, let's have a survey. Who would want to replace you in your classroom? Truth is, you can't be. We could divide you into 10 different people and all 10 would still be incredible teachers. We won't wish you luck because people like you don't need it. You make your way in the world and do so for the benefit of everyone else. I don't impress easily, but you amaze us as a teacher and more importantly, as a person. We will miss you dearly, and we certainly wish you well. Thank you.